Nets urged to sign 10-time All-Star amid Kevin Durant injury. After a sluggish start to the season, the Bklyn Nets have become one of the top teams in the league and look like legit contenders for this year's NBA title. After firing their former head coach Steve Nash in November, the Nets went from being one of the bottom teams in the NBA to having the second-best record in the entire league. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. But just as the Nets were putting all of the pieces together, disaster struck. In their matchup with the Miami Heat on January 8, Nets All-Star forward Kevin Durant collided with Heat star Jimmy Butler. Durant left the game with an apparent leg injury and did not return. An MRI later revealed that he sprained his right MCL and will have his knee re-evaluated in 2 weeks. In the wake of Durant's injury, fans on Twitter urged Nets general manager Sean Marks to sign 10-time All-Star Carmelo Anthony, who is currently a free agent. Last season with the Los Angeles Lakers, Anthony averaged 13.3 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 1.0 assists. Kyrie Irving sounds off on his growth this season. With Durant to be sidelined for at least the next 2 weeks, Net star Kyrie Irving will be asked to step up in his absence. Irving is having perhaps his best statistical season in Bklyn. He is averaging 26.6 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 4.7 assists per game. It is a welcome turnaround from last season where Irving played just 29 games after refusing to get the state-mandated COVID vaccine to play home games at Barclays Center. Irving had one dilemma this season, when he got suspended for 8 games for posting the link to a film that featured anti-Semitic tropes. But outside of that, Kyrie has been laser-focused on the court this year. The Nets star says he has been intentional about keeping extra distractions away from basketball this season. Basketball is a very simple art form, so if I don't bring all my extra distractions or anything that I'm going through mentally into the game, then I feel like we have a great chance of winning every game. That's something I've taken responsibility for on my own end, just to positively reinforce that we can win games no matter what going on, Irving said via the New York Post. Just being mentally prepared, using a lot of sessions in the summer of challenging myself to be ready for these moments where I don't have to be swayed emotionally. I'm in control of my emotions, in control of my thoughts. Because the ball isn't going in the rim for me, I don't want to use that as an opportunity for me to be selfish and get in my emotions. It's about the team. So Nets fans, what do you think about Carmelo Anthony? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Net Spencer Dinwiddie reacts to being traded for Kyrie Irving. The Bklyn Nets, 31-20, got things started on what was expected to be an exciting trade deadline a little early, shipping out Mercurial star guard Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. Irving and the Nets had reached an impasse on a new contract, with the player bristling specifically at some language that tight guarantees in the final year of his offered deal to winning a championship. Irving was said to be seeking a 4-year max extension worth $198 million per ESPN NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. He now would have to settle for a 2-year $78 million extension before the summer. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Things have happened so fast that not all of the dust has settled yet. The Irving is said to be ecstatic about the move for Yahoo Sports NBA insider Chris Haynes, while one of the players coming back, who happens to be making his return to Bklyn, spoke for himself. The Nets are bringing back Spencer Dinwiddie, who was traded to the Washington Wizards after Brooklyn acquired James Harden in 2021, before trading him to the Philadelphia 76ers at the 2022 deadline. They were also dealing with luxury tax concerns, while Dinwiddie had played just 3 games the preceding season, due to a torn ACL. Dinwiddie, 29, also sent a message to his former team and city. To the Mavericks fans, like I've always said, y'all and Bklyn have made my NBA experience, Dinwiddie said in his subsequent tweet. Nothing but immaculate vibes, as former Net and current Maverick Theo Pinson would say. The 6'5" combo guard is averaging 17.7 points on 59.9 true shooting with 5.3 assists and 3.1 rebounds this season. He's also enjoying a banner year from beyond the arc, knocking down 40.5% of his 6.4 looks, both career highs. Perhaps most impressive, he did this while playing with a high-usage player, like Luka Doncic. He is in the second year of a 3-year $54 million pact that has him earning $18 million this season and $18.8 million next season, before hitting unrestricted free agency. If there is a knock on the outspoken veteran, it is that he also comes with an extensive injury history, including 2 torn ACLs, though he has averaged over 65 appearances in the last 7 years minus the 2021 season. Nets landed Kevin Durant favorite in Dorian Finney-Smith. Brooklyn also brought in 29-year-old forward Dorian Finney-Smith, who Kevin Durant is said to have a lot of respect for, according to ESPN's Tim McMahon during an appearance on Brian Windhorst and the Hoop Collective on February 3, before the deal for Irving even went down. Finney-Smith is averaging 9.1 points on 55.75 true shooting with 4.7 boards, 1.5 assists and 1.0 steals in the first year of a 4-year deal that will pay him over $55.5 million and has a $15 million player option in the final season, 2026, making him even more of a long-term acquisition than Dinwiddie. Mark Stein of the Stein Line reported the Nets would cover both in a deal, and they landed them both for a player that no longer wanted to be with them. And they might not be done just yet. Brooklyn's still cooking up trades. The Nets did well to replenish their draft coffers in light of the circumstances by getting back a first-rounder and a pair of seconds 2027 and 2029, even if the former won't convey until 2029. They very well could have come away with a lot less than what they got. Packages from the Lakers, including both of their coveted first-round picks 2027 and 2029, as well as one from the Phoenix Suns that included Chris Paul, were on the table per Haynes. However, Puri and Begley of Sportsnet New York, Nets general manager Sean Marks, is not done. With less than a handful of days left until the February 9th trade deadline, expect more fireworks, perhaps even from the Nets, as they retool on the fly. So Nets fans, what did you think? What do you think about that? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. There are still a lot of questions about just what the next intentional version of the Brooklyn Nets will look like. They have gone from a star-studded title contender to a mishmash of promising parts and serviceable veterans in a matter of days. This off-season could, and probably should, lead to even more changes this off-season, and there are some suggestions about what at least one of those changes should be. Consider the small leap of faith. Mays Reed should immediately catch Brooklyn's attention if it opens up the $11.4 million MLE, argues Dan Fabella Bleacher Report. He doesn't turn 24 until August, and at 6'9" with the bandwidth to attack off the bounce, he can soak up time alongside any of the Nets' other front court members. They can steal reps with him at center, and even though his three-point clip has ducked below 34, he opens the floor enough to work in tandem with Ben Simmons or Nicholas Claxton. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Reed's ability to spread the floor 35.1% on 2.5 threes per game in 2021 is critical if he is going to share the floor with either Claxton, whose shot profile is at or near the rim, or Simmons, whose game has devolved to the point that head coach Jacques One detailed the difficulty in playing in right now. You put a big next to Ben, then you got to figure out what the spacing is around him, Vaughn said via the team's official YouTube channel after the 124-106 loss to the New York Knicks on February 13. Then if you put a playmaker next to him, then you got to figure out what Ben looks like without the basketball. Then if you go small with Ben, then you've got to figure out, can you rebound enough with him? You see the challenges that lie ahead. Reed is averaging 10.2 points and 4.7 rebounds this season. Perhaps, he can at least provide a remedy to playing Simmons amid the reality he may be tough to move with over $78 million owed to him over the next 2 years. I've heard from league sources that the Nets have also inquired about Reed, reports Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer. So there would be competition for him if Minnesota chose to move him, though the price for the upcoming free agent wouldn't be significant. Brooklyn has to thread the needle. Brooklyn doesn't have an incentive to burn it all down when Houston controls its next 4 first-rounders, Fable says, noting the Nets risk paying the luxury tax given what it could take to keep forward Cameron Johnson in the fold, but it's also not competitive enough to float a roster that belly flops into the luxury tax. Johnson was acquired in the trade that sent Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns, and previous estimates have been pegged for a deal worth around $20 million per year. Reed is coming off his 4-year, $6 million rookie contract. Brooklyn did well to recoup some draft capital in that deal and the one sending Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks, but those are far enough out and they still don't control where they will fall in the draft order. They will have to thread the needle as a likely taxpayer next season, but not one with title aspirations, unless they can land the next disgruntled superstar, whomever that may be. Nets sitting on a gold mine? The Nets got back 5 first-round picks and 1 pick swap for Durant and Irving, in addition to a bunch of second-rounders from that, and the deal rerouting Jay Crowder from Phoenix to the Milwaukee Bucks. They also turned down sizable offers for Michael Bridges and Dorian Finney-Smith. Nets' Mikal Bridges puts league on notice after history-making performance. There is enough ammunition to go and get that next disgruntled franchise cornerstone, or to include it in a package along with Simmons for something more palatable. So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video.
Kyrie Irving sends telling warning amid trade demand. Things in the NBA happen in the blink of an eye. Just last week, the Brooklyn Nets, 31-20, seemed to be maintaining their positive trajectory even in the face of several trying losses in the wake of Kevin Durant's MCL injury. At the forefront of that was one Kyrie Irving, embracing a role of leadership after an off-season, and first roughly 90 days of the regular season rife with distraction. Well, that all changed with Irving demanding a trade for Shams Charania of The Athletic. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. After Irving shared videos of controversial pundits Jordan Peterson and Jason Whitlock on his Instagram on Thursday, things quickly devolved over the next few hours for a Nets team that battled back from a slow start to become one of the premier threats in the Eastern Conference and now finds itself right back at square one, all the while Irving remains cryptic on Twitter. Kyrie Irving tweets after trade demand. "To my peers, just be yourself and grow," Irving tweeted in the aftermath of his request. "Keep people around who celebrate you unconditionally and appreciates all of the hard work that gets put in. Distance yourself from the folks who manipulate, hate and hurt." Irving signed off on the tweet with his customary Gila, his Lakota name. There had been a concerted effort from Irving to push past all the outside influences and be dedicated to the team. He even took a shot at former teammate James Harden, now of the Philadelphia 76ers, saying things would be different this time with Durant out, because he was no longer hampered by things like his stance on the covet vaccine. He also found himself in hot water earlier this year after sharing a video deemed anti-Semitic, leading to an 8-game suspension after a summer-long contract standoff with management. "Just getting out of my own way and really thinking team first and putting my body on the line and then leading by example," Irving said in a walk-off interview after the Nets' 117-106 win over the Utah Jazz on January 20th. "Every night, I try to put myself in that place, in that zone. Specifically, in the fourth quarter when it's winning time. But I just think the way we started off the game, it really made a difference tonight. And then, the way we finished, I really felt like we grew as a squad." Rival exec gets brutally honest about Kyrie Irving amid extension push. Irving's latest message paints a picture of someone feeling only partially accepted by the Nets. His agent, Chatella Irving, recently sent a text message to Bleacher Report NBA insider Chris Haynes, professing her client's desire to make Brooklyn his long-term home. The Nets did offer Irving a new deal in the last week, per Garania. Shiranis adds that the deal included stipulations over the guarantees in the final year of the contract, while Irving's side believes a player of his caliber should not have to deal with that. League sources with direct knowledge of the negotiations who have been granted anonymity so that they could speak freely safe that the extension offer was not well received, writes Charania, before revealing that there have been significant differences that have emerged between the Nets and Irving. Chris Haynes, of Bleacher Report, adds that the stipulation involved winning at a high level, at which point Irving's camp discontinued talks. What comes next for Kyrie Irving Nets? This naturally opens up the floodgates to a slew of other questions for Nets general manager, Sean Marks, who was also under some bit of uncertainty. Will the Nets be able to cobble together a deal? They feel comfortable with the head of the February 9th trade deadline. Brooklyn's Kyrie Irving has not shared a list of preferred teams, tweeted out ESPN NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski, adding that the oftentimes aloof 7-time All-Star has maintained an interest in the Lakers. Law is expected to be among the teams that will explore a possible trade with the Nets. Do they even really have the luxury of being picky? That was part of their logic behind not bowing to Irving's contractual wants in the first place, believing that he would need their help to get to any preferred destination next summer. But the turmoil around Irving at least played a significant part in Durant's trade request over this past off-season and could be a driving factor behind the next request from the injured superstar. So Nets fans, what did you think about that? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video.
Nets trade Kevin Durant to West Powerhouse for 2 young stars and draft capital. The Brooklyn Nets have traded Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns, according to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. Breaking, the Phoenix Suns are nearing a blockbuster trade to acquire Brooklyn Nets star Kevin Durant, sources tell ESPN. Durant wanted move to Suns and new owner Matt Ishbia pushing to get deal done tonight, Wojnarowski tweeted. Of The Athletic reported on more details, noting that the Nets will be receiving Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, for first-round picks and additional draft compensation in exchange for Durant. The Nets are trading Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns for a package including Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, for first-round picks and additional draft compensation, league sources tell it. The Athletic at Stadium, Sharania tweeted. It was later added that the Nets would also be receiving Jay Crowder in the deal. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Brooklyn is also sending TJ Warren to the Suns where he began his career. Wojnarowski also reported that the draft picks Brooklyn will receive in the deal by 2023, 2025, 2027 and 2029 first-round picks, all unprotected. In the past week the Nets have disbanded. Kyrie Irving requested a trade and was subsequently dealt to the Dallas Mavericks. It led to a ton of speculation as to whether or not Durant would ask out, similar to the way he did this past offseason. Initial reporting indicated that he would not, but something changed over the past few days. Now the Nets will restructure their entire future around a young core of players. Bridges and Johnson, both 26 years old, will get a lot more responsibility in Brooklyn, leading the way into the future. They will join Nicholas Claxton and Kem Thomas to form a new young core for the Nets. Kevin Durant and Nets worked together on trade. Following the reports of the trade, it was revealed that this move was a cooperative effort. According to Chris Haynes of TNT and Bleacher Report, Durant and the Nets worked together on the trade in an attempt to find a good landing spot for Durant and a good package for the Nets. It was a collaborative effort by the camp of Kevin Durant and Brooklyn Nets to find the right situation, sources tell at NBA on TNT at Bleacher Report. Both sides were committed to pursuing that objective and part ways on good terms, Haynes tweeted. Now, Durant will get to compete for a championship in Phoenix alongside Chris Paul and Devin Booker, while the Nets will solidify their future with young pieces in draft picks. Kyrie Irving sends message to Kevin Durant. Irving and Durant are very close friends, but with Irving forcing his way out of Brooklyn, some questioned whether or not their friendship would be affected. Well, according to Irving, who spoke with Callie Kaplan of the Dallas Morning News, he and Durant are on good terms. It's water under the bridge now, Irving told Kaplan. I wish them well. I left them in fourth place. I did what I was supposed to do, took care of my teammates, was incredibly selfless in my approach to leading. So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video.
Great news from Nets star Kevin Durant progresses in recovery and could return before All-Star game. The week of the Brooklyn Nets started well. In addition to beating the Golden State Warriors on Sunday, 24, the team takes the first steps in Kevin Durant's return to the court. In an official statement, the franchise says that the forward was re-evaluated on 23, and is recovering well from a sprained right knee suffered on the 8th in the victory over the Miami Heat. Since then, the player remains in the medical department and should resume physical activities this week. In 2 weeks the star will be evaluated again. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. The Nets expect him to be fit for the game before the All-Star game break, which takes place on February 17th to 19th, in the latest partial released by the NBA. Despite the optimism in the treatment with the medical department, it is still doubtful if the star will return to play some games before the holiday weekend or if he will have more days of rest. Without Durant, the Nets' next commitment in the NBA will be on Wednesday 25 when they visit the Philadelphia 76ers in a direct confrontation in the Eastern Conference. The opponents have a 30-16 second place campaign while the team from New York is 29-17 fourth place. So Nets fans, do you think that Kevin Durant has conditions to return now in game or need to wait a little longer to return with full force? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video.
In the NBA, one skill separates the stars from the players: the ability to create shots. Some stars can create for themselves. Others create for their teammates. Players who can create for both are often among the best players in the NBA. Of course, some players are extremely valuable despite not having this ability. In particular, the 3-and-D wings are highly coveted in the league. Still, a 3-and-D winger, who can create his own shot, is even better. Paul George of the Los Angeles Clippers is one of the best examples. By contrast, Dorian Finney-Smith of the Brooklyn Nets is one of the purest 3D wingers in the NBA. Could the two switch teams this summer? Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Los Angeles Clippers receive G.F. Ben Simmons and F. Dorian Finney-Smith. Brooklyn Nets receive Paul George. On the other hand, the ability to create for others only goes so far. If you can't create for yourself, it can be difficult to achieve NBA stardom. After all, the mere threat of being able to create for yourself makes it easier to create for others. A player who checks first can dominate games, but a player who only checks will struggle to do so. Without self-gravity, they'll face unique cover from defenses, your teammates won't be open to finding them in the first place. This has been a dilemma for Ben Simmons for the past few years. Early in his career, he at least put pressure on the rim on drives. For the past 2 years, he has been hesitant to score. He is rapidly sinking his shares in the league. So far, the Nets have buried him in their rotation, and his contract is seen as a negative asset. Could the Clippers really make it? The Clippers don't make this deal to acquire Simmons. With that said, there is still hope for the first pick. Simmons is still young enough to change his career. If he can get back to previous production levels, that could be a steal for the Clippers. In fact, this might be his best chance. The Clippers have suffered from a lack of point guard play in recent years and have the front-court spacing needed to maximize Simmons. Small ball lineups with Simmons running point can be effective for this group. On the other hand, Simmons might just be making their money work here. In this case, Finney Smith and 4 first-round picks is a fair return for George anyway. Should the Nets give up so much to sign him? The Nets have been given every pick they are trading here during their busy trade deadline. They got 3 of them for Kevin Durant and 1 for Kyrie Irving. Here's the thing, it doesn't matter how many choices the Nets have at their disposal. As long as the Houston Rockets have their first-round picks through 2027, they have no incentive to hit rock bottom. So why not change the choices? This next roster is deep, defensive and versatile. If they added a star this summer, they could be back in contention for the NBA title. George could be the perfect complement. It replaces Finney Smith as 3D skill set, while also bringing a healthy dose of shot creation. In other words, he's a playmaker. With Durant and Irving dead, they need talent like George. Perhaps he could attract more talent given the market as well. So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Kevin Durant's agent reveals when he could return from injury. Bklyn Nets star Kevin Durant was re-evaluated on January 24, 2 weeks after he suffered an MCL sprain against the Miami Heat. Durant got cleared to resume running and basketball activities in his rehab, but was not cleared to return to the starting lineup. Durant will get his knee evaluated again next week. For ESPN Adrian Wojnarowski, Durant's agent Rich Kleiman says the Nets star remains hopeful that he can return before the All-Star break. I spoke with Kevin Durant's business partner and manager Rich Kleiman tonight, and he tells me KD remains hopeful that he can return and play on All-Star weekend. He certainly wants to be a part of All-Star, that's February 19th. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. He likes the way his rehab is going, how he looks on the court and most importantly how he feels, Wojnarowski said on NBA Countdown on February 1st via @_talk and _NBA. I think for Kevin Durant to play in return and be a part of All-Star weekend, you would expect he probably needs to play a game or 2 before the Nets All-Star break. Kyrie Irving sends strong message on Celtics dominance. If one thing has been made clear in Durant's absence, it is that the team needs him to have any shot at this year's title. That was apparent in the Nets' last game against the Boston Celtics, when they suffered a whopping 43-point loss. The Celtics are the team that eliminated the Nets from the playoffs last year via a 4-0 sweep in the first round. Boston has been convincingly dominant over the Nets dating back to last season, as they have beaten Brooklyn in 10 consecutive meetings. With the Celtics owning the best record in the NBA, the Nets will likely have to see them if they hope to get to the NBA Finals this season. Net star Kyrie Irving says he doesn't currently have the answer for how the Nets can finally get another win over the Celtics, but he won't stop trying to figure it out. As a competitor, I'm not going to stop until I figure out what this methodology is to the Boston Celtics right now and why they're so hot. I think I have a main reason, and just how connected they are and how much they play together and how many minutes they've logged in together. Again, that chip on their shoulder. You can see it, you can feel it, Irving said after the loss. Tonight I felt like we were just one of those teams in the way. We just can't be one of those teams in the way. We've got to be one of those teams that stands up to them and at least shows them that we're going to be competition for them moving forward, which I believe we are. Insider makes revelation about 2017 Kyrie Irving trade. Kyrie has an extensive history with the Celtics. He was infamously traded to Boston in the summer of 2017, after 3 consecutive trips to the finals with LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The move to the Celtics came as quite a surprise to people, especially because Irving and the Cavs had eliminated the Celtics from the playoffs convincingly months prior. But according to Jake Ella Fisher of Yahoo Sports, Irving never listed the Celtics as one of his preferred traded destinations. Irving did not have Boston on the list of preferred teams his representation had delivered to Cleveland leadership either. However, that omission was by design, Fisher writes. According to multiple sources familiar with the matter, while Irving's then-agent Jeffrey Wexler informed Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert that his client preferred to be dealt to either the Spurs, Knicks, Timberwolves or Heat, the list intentionally excluded the Celtics the franchise Cleveland had just faced in that previous season's Eastern Conference Finals. With Irving set to become an unrestricted free agent in a few months, it will be interesting to see what he decides to do. So Nets fans, what did you think about Durant's comeback? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Nets could become championship-caliber team by trading for big man depth. The Brooklyn Nets played their first game after their star Kevin Durant went down with a knee injury on January's berth against the Boston Celtics. Brooklyn lost 109-98 to the Celtics, but the game was much closer than the box score suggests. The Nets got the welcome news that their superstar forward will likely only miss a month of play with his sprained MCL. After their first game without Durant, Brooklyn's step stood out. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Kyrie Irving praised the depth of the Nets roster in the post-game press conference following Durant's January act in Uri. In the absence of Durant, Brooklyn got an extra boost from T.J. Warren, who scored 20 and continues to look good in his return from injury. Joe Harris also had his best game of the year, dropping in 18 points, making 4 three-pointers on the night. Their depth was evident in each position except for center. The Nets struggled in the minutes Nick Claxton wasn't on the floor, and the storyline all season of the Nets needing big man depth was evident in KD's absence. As the trade deadline approaches, that is beneath the Nets are most likely to address. Nets linked to Jakob Porta and Kelly Olynyk as big man answers. On January 8, Greg Swartz of Bleacher Report linked the Nets to 2 big men that could solve their front court needs in the San Antonio Spurs Sedum Fort Ince center Jakob Porter and the sex-fought F forward from the Utah Jazz Kelly Olynyk. Outside of Nick Claxton, Brooklyn Deuce and have a lot of reliable big men to turn to, which will be a problem should they run into bigger teams like the Milwaukee Bucks or Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs. Poeltl is a good interior score defender and willing ball mover who would blend well with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving and others. Olynyk is also a talented passer who can bring a new dynamic to the front court with his outside shooting percent, which would be especially important if Ben Simmons continues to ignore the three-point line, Schwartz writes. The Nets need some rebounding help. They are currently ranked 29th in the league in total league rebounding. Poeltl is averaging 9 punk for bounce per game for this verse, while also scoring over 12 points per game in blocking a shot per game. Olynyk isn't putting up quite the same numbers, averaging 5 rebounds per contest for the Jazz, but he still brings depth to the big man position that the Nets desperately need. Nets could also look for power forward at deadline. On January, Heavy Sports reported that the Nets were potentially looking at trading for power forwards at the trade deadline from a league executive source. If they don't look at center, a versatile power forward could be their answer. The Nets are definitely looking for a deal, but they want to bring in a star who can play alongside what they have. Type B in the market for a power forward type may be a rebounder, the executive suggested to Heavy Sports. The Nets have been linked to no shortage of power forwards as the trade deadline approaches. Kyle Kuzma, John Collins, Jarrett Vanderbilt, Jay Crowder and Bojan Bogdanovic have all been named as potential pieces to add depth to the Brooklyn front court. In the January FPL report article from SWAT said link at Porto and Olynyk to the Nets. Swartz included Crowder in potential pieces that could be finding a home at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Crowder gives Brooklyn a playoff test at wing who can play and defend either forward position and should be well rested while being away from the Phoenix Suns all season. Nets can weather Kevin Durant's MCL sprain and add one more piece at the deadline. This is a championship-caliber team towards continued. So Nets fans, what do you think about Poeltl or Olynyk? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Cam Johnson of the Cavs land Nets in a bold commercial setting. Several NBA teams had clear goals in mind when it came to this year's trade deadline compared to others. It would have been possible for some teams to take a different approach. The directives of some, however, were much more obvious than those of others. In the minds of many, the Cleveland Cavaliers were one of those teams. For them, the goal seemed simple, they just wanted to get their hands on a wing. While the Cavaliers have had an excellent season, they appear to be a 3-and-D wing away from genuinely challenging for the title thus far. In fact, they still do. On deadline, the Cavaliers made no major changes to their roster. That said, it's possible they were simply holding their breath until they managed to acquire a wing this summer, and that may be all they were doing. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. As an example, consider a forward like Cameron Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, on the other hand, were one of the busiest teams in the league. Just because they don't have a good one doesn't mean they don't have a good one. At the time of the trade deadline, the Nets said Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on their team. There is no doubt that Michael Bridges is their best player at the moment. That said, there's no doubt that the situation in Brooklyn could be worse. With a platoon of elite defensive players on the roster, this team now has an impressive collection of recruiting capital. Needless to say, that recruiting capital won't help them win any games this season. There is a possibility that the Nets will be either buyers or sellers during the upcoming off-season, depending on how the rest of the season plays out. Do you think this is the right way to move Johnson if they are sellers? First, let me point out that this is a sign and exchange transaction. This summer, Johnson will be eligible for restricted free agency. In fact, that's one of the factors influencing the Nets' decision here. There is no way to predict how much Johnson will earn on the open market. Although, if the Nets aren't able to make a playoff run, they might be hesitant to commit to him should they fail to make a playoff run. It's also important to point out that this isn't a wage dump either. Osman is a capable winger. He may not be starting caliber, but he is rotation caliber. Even so, this is more about the future of the Nets than anything else. There is still some intrigue surrounding Okoro, in particular. Despite having had a disappointing NBA career thus far, he is still young enough to improve his stock in a new environment. This is a great comeback for the Nets, especially if they're looking to rebuild their roster this summer and are willing to include some second-round picks. How much should the Cavaliers give up to acquire Johnson? It is not necessary for the Cavaliers to have a superstar wing. There is already a lot of offensive talent in your team. There is no doubt that Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are among the best defensive quarterbacks in the league. The Cavaliers may not have many options to choose from if Evan Mobley makes a big jump as a third-year player. That's exactly what Johnson needs. This is a low-usage 3-ed wing. In addition, he is also one of the best spacers in the entire NBA. With this deal, the Cavaliers are putting the finishing touches on what has been an excellent rebuild for the team. After that, they would have a perfectly balanced roster that would be capable of winning an NBA title in the future. Isn't that what they are trying to accomplish? So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Nets linked to potential blockbuster trade for Toronto Raptors star. Following the Bklyn Nets blockbuster trade that sent all-star point guard Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks, Nets owner Josiah and general manager Sean Marks may not be finished making deals ahead of the February 9th NBA trade deadline. Per NBA insider Brian Windhorst, the Nets could use the assets they recoup from the Irving trade to land Toronto Raptors small forward OG Anunoby. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. If the Nets could flip some of this stuff that they got in OG Anunoby out of there, you may have something there with the Nets, but I don't know if they're going to be able to win or sit to NBA insider Zach Lowe on the latest episode of the Hoop Collective. I'm just telling you the Nets offering ability with what Toronto has is suddenly very interesting. I'm just going to leave it at that. On the season, Anunoby averages 16.9 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.1 steals per game. Nets could target Raptors, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam. Last season the Raptors were the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference standings and gave Joel Embiid, James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers all they could handle in the first round of the playoffs before being eliminated in 6 games. But this year, the Raptors have looked like anything but a contender, sitting in 12th place in the Eastern Conference with a record of 25-30. With the Raptors' lackluster season thus far, any hopes of them being a contender now or in the near future seem slim. As a result, many expect team president, Masai Ujiri, to have a fire sale at the trade deadline and start a rebuild in Toronto. If that does happen, NBA insider Mark Stein believes the Nets could also have an interest in Raptor starters Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam. Among the possibilities for expanding the Kyrie Irving to Dallas trade before this evening's scheduled trade call, league sources say that Bklyn has explored the feasibility of packaging Spencer Dinwiddie in draft capital to Toronto, in an attempt to acquire Fred VanVleet. Stein tweeted on February 6. The Nets have also been described to me as a team with Pascal Siakam interest, although the signals entering the final week of trade season have reflected a reluctance from Toronto to this point to make Siakam available. Nets primed to make more trades ahead of deadline. Whether the Nets will complete any available deals with the Raptors remains to be seen, with the February 9th trade deadline approaching quickly. But one thing has seemed to be apparent. Bklyn is not finished making moves to improve their roster as they prepare for the playoffs. on the February 6th edition of ESPN's Get Up. NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, said the Nets' goal heading into the week of the NBA trade deadline is to use some of the assets acquired in the Irving deal to surround star forward Kevin Durant with the necessary talent to compete this season. Both Brooklyn and Dallas were motivated to move quickly get that deal done once they really started to talk on Sunday. Dallas might have wanted to put a little less draft capital in that trade, but they didn't want to lose Kyrie Irving. They didn't want a deal to end up elsewhere. So they moved to get it done Sunday, Wojnarowski said. They did that with Brooklyn, who now wants to take the assets from that trade, both draft capital and perhaps Spencer Dinwiddie, and see what else is available out there in the marketplace to continue when proving this roster around Kevin Durant. But the deal as it stands now satisfies the needs Brooklyn had with a point guard in Dinwiddie and a really versatile, perhaps underrated player in Dorian Finney-Smith, one of the best perimeter defenders who can defend multiple positions for you. So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Kevin Durant, who twice in 7 months requested a trade from the Nets, once hours before his 4-year, $198 million contract kicked in, then again in mid-season following an 18-2 run, told thousands of Phoenix Suns fans Thursday that he considered the Nets family, but that without Kyrie Irving the team didn't have a clear identity. Showing some emotion in his first public comments since his trade in the wee hours of February 9th, Durant seemed to tie his desire to get out of Brooklyn directly to Irving, who Brooklyn had decided to trade following the superstar guard's own request to leave. That break, of course, came after the Nets, having tired of Irving's serial ability to create controversy and miss 49% of his games in Brooklyn, declined to offer him a fully guaranteed 4-year deal without stipulations. "I built a family over there. They're always going to be a part of my journey. I love those guys," Durant said at the height of his discussion regarding the Nets. He also credited the Nets with helping him through his year-long recovery and rehabilitation from Achilles surgery, which required him to miss his first year in Brooklyn. "I get emotional talking about them because that was a special 4 years of my career coming off an Achilles. They helped me though a lot. But in the end, it was Irving's situation that pushed things to the breaking point." Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. He spoke as well about the demise of the Big Three a year ago when James Harden also requested a trade. "We just didn't get on the court enough. I think when you saw James, Kyrie, and myself, it was amazing basketball for 17 games. But in order for you to win a championship and to be a great team, you just need more time on the floor," Durant said. "It's another story about why we didn't get on the floor together. But those are Hall of Fame players that I learned a lot from every day, and I'm wishing them the best as well. It just didn't work out." Durant answered the questions about the Nets from ESPN's Nick Friedell despite boos from the assembled Suns fans at the Phoenix Arena where he will play, presumably after the All-Star break. Unlike Irving and Harden, Durant did not criticize the Nets organization and certainly didn't show disdain, even anger, as the other two did. But like them, he also was vague as to why things didn't work out. Nor did he name names or detail specific instances where things turned, other than Irving's request to be dealt. He didn't even describe what about Irving's request he couldn't stomach. "I was upset that we couldn't finish. I thought that we had some good momentum. We were finally building the culture that we always wanted," Durant said. "But I didn't know what was going on with Kyrie and his situation. It was a blow to our team. That was tough for me to stomach. I loved playing with those guys throughout the year. Before he sprained his MCL for the second time in 2 years and before Irving told Sean Marks that he wanted out, the Nets had the best stretch of basketball the franchise had experienced since moving to Brooklyn, winning 18 of 20 games, including 12 straight. Also, around that time, KD went out of his way to help that size sign Breanna Stewart to a deal with the Liberty. Despite all the other rationales provided for KD's departure, it now seems amply clear that Durant's top priority was keeping his friend by his side. So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Despite a tumultuous run with the Brooklyn Nets, Dallas Mavericks guard Kyrie Irving has a positive outlook regarding that time of his career. According to Mike Vorkunov of The Athletic, Irving said Saturday that he has no regrets about his Nets tenure. Kyrie added that he had a plan in place where I could have stayed in Brooklyn long term, but is at peace with the path that led him to Dallas. Prior to last week's NBA trade deadline, the Nets shipped Irving and Markieff Morris to the Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, an unprotected 2029 first-round pick and second-round picks in 2027 and 2029. After tenures with the Cleveland Cavaliers and Boston Celtics, Irving signed with the Nets in 2019 on the same day that Brooklyn signed Kevin Durant. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. The Nets then acquired James Harden in a trade with the Houston Rockets the following season, and the expectation was that the trio would lead the franchise to one or more championships. Instead, they spent minimal time on the floor together. Harden was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers prior to the deadline last season, while Irving was traded to the Mavs and KD was traded to the Phoenix Suns this season. In Kyrie's 3 full seasons with the Nets, they reached the playoffs each time, but they never made it past the second round. When healthy and on the court, Irving was highly productive in Brooklyn, averaging 27.1 points, 5.8 assists, 4.8 rebounds, 3.1 three-pointers made and 1.3 steals, and earning 2 All-Star selections, but he was limited to 143 regular season games across parts of 4 seasons. Irving missed a large portion of the 2021-22 season because of his refusal to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, which rendered him unable to play home games because of protocols in New York City. Kyrie also missed 8 games this season when the Nets suspended him for sharing an anti-Semitic movie on social media and subsequently failing to disavow its message when given the chance. Few could have expected that the Nets would be such a non-factor during the Kyrie and KD era, but things simply didn't work out the way everyone involved hoped. When Irving and the Nets couldn't come to an agreement on a contract extension, Kyrie reportedly requested a trade, and now he finds himself in the thick of playoff contention in the Western Conference. Desperate to find a star to play alongside MVP candidate Luka Doncic, the Mavs dealt for Irving and could be a dangerous team down the stretch. The Mavs have yet to fully hit their stride and are just 31-29, but that is good enough for 6th place in the Western Conference, and if Irving and Doncic mesh, they likely aren't an opponent any team will want to see in the playoffs. So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. West contender are expected to make a bid for newly acquired Nets starter. After trading Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving at the deadline, one of the Brooklyn Nets' best players is Mikal Bridges. Bridges may not be the level of superstar that Durant and Irving are and is undersized for the small forward position at 6 feet 6 inches, but his tenacious defense and elite defensive ability is something every title contender could use on their roster. NBA insider Jake Ella Fisher, of Yahoo Sports, says that Bridges may be on the radar of the Memphis Grizzlies this off-season. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Brooklyn did not seriously entertain offers for Bridges after landing him from Phoenix, sources told Yahoo Sports. He is under contract through 2025-26 at what's considered a value deal of more than $22 million in average annual salary, Fisher writes. There will be no shortage of title chasers who bid for Bridges this off-season. Memphis is one suitor to keep file away after the Grizzlies, sources said, pursued Bridges both from Phoenix and then Brooklyn and were willing to offer combinations of picks and players that did not include Joe Morant, Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson Jr. for Durant. So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Nets Kevin Durant gets roasted after questioning Hall of Fame big man. Social media interactions can be tricky, nothing you say is truly private and can often get back to the subject at hand. In the case of injured Brooklyn Nets star Kevin Durant, who was prominent on Twitter, that became a reality as he found himself on the receiving end of a few harsh bards from an NBA legend. Durant is still nursing a sprained MCL and won't be re-evaluated for just under another 2 weeks. The injury threatens to keep him out through the All-Star break. It has not kept him off his social platform of choice, which is where he came across what he felt was a rather questionable take from Hall of Fame center, Shaquille O'Neal, a 4-time NBA champion and member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team. Kevin Durant and Shaquille O'Neal go back and forth. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Shaquille doesn't know ball, Durant asked in reaction to O'Neal saying that if a player is not considered top 10 in the NBA, then he does not know they are in regards to his former team the Los Angeles Lakers, trading for Rui Hachimura ahead of the February 9th trade deadline. I'm not watching the Bullets or the Wizards, the 15-time All-Star and 14-time All-NBA selection said of Hachimura. Durant's question found its way back to O'Neal, who was also not shy on Twitter. I don't know ball, but I know how to brush my hair or decide to cut it when I was going bald. Love always the bus driver, O'Neal replied under another unrelated tweet of Durant talking about rapper J. Cole on his podcast, The Etceteras with Kevin Durant and Eddie Gonzalez from earlier in the day. But the best part of the exchange was Durant's rather surprised response to O'Neal's pointed response. Damn, Durant tweeted, I got cooked for asking a simple question. Durant's grooming habits have long been a popular topic for some, but Durant has never cared. O'Neal bus driver jab is a reference to comments from his TNT studio show colleague and fellow Hall of Famer, Charles Barkley. Kobe Bryant said, I had to win a championship without Shaq. LeBron James said, I had to win a championship without Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, said Barkley during an appearance on ESPN's Get Up with Mike Greenberg last year. That's the way this thing works. KD's an all-time hell of a player, but until he is the guy on a championship we're not going to ever give him the respect that he probably deserves, we're going to hold him to the same high standard. Durant clapped back at those remarks. Bus riders, bus drivers, like what does that even mean? That's a bunch of us you just make up, Durant said via his boardroom platform. Like I ain't did S before I went to Golden State. I had shoes, I had MVPs before I met these guys. Y'all just be hating on the god. Then you say I won't get respect from the legends, like who? 'Cause every time I run into a legend I get nothing but love. Go do your research fam, I've been a busy week on social media. Durant has always been one of the more active participants on social media, especially among the game's superstar ilk. This week has been no different with Durant retweeting an interesting message from Hall of Fame forward Paul Pierce. He also had his first spat of the week with Philadelphia 76ers big man Joel Embiid, who Durant said he missed talking trash to on the court. Durant criticized Embiid's celebration, which drew the ire of the league office leading to a fine. The week began with Durant showing love to his teammate, emerging big man Nick Claxton, for his breakout campaign. But the biggest boost Durant can do will be to make his eventual return to the basketball court, whether that is in time for All-Star Weekend or sometime thereafter. That is the only activity that matters to the 30-19 Nets. So Nets fans, what did you think about that? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Nets urge to reunite Kevin Durant with former teammate at trade deadline. On January 20th, NBA insider Shams Charania of The Athletic reported that the Milwaukee Bucks and veteran forward Serge Ibaka had mutually agreed to find a trade that would be beneficial for both sides ahead of this year's deadline. The Milwaukee Bucks and center Serge Ibaka have mutually agreed to find the 14-year NBA veteran a new home via trade as he remains away from the team, Charania tweeted. Following their 117-112 loss to the Phoenix Suns on January 19th, the Bklyn Nets have dropped 4 consecutive games. With Kevin Durant, scheduled to be re-evaluated next week and still wearing a knee brace after spraining his MCL on January 9th. Things could get worse for the Nets before they get better. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. With under a month to go until the NBA trade deadline, Nets fans are clamoring for general manager Sean Marks to make a trade to upgrade Bklyn's roster. Many fans believe Ibaka could be a difference maker on Bklyn's current roster and are urging Marks to make a deal that would reunite Durant with his ex-Oklahoma City Thunder teammate. Jacques Vaughn puts Ben Simmons on notice. Following Durant's injury, many fans were anxious to see how Nets star forward Ben Simmons would perform in his absence. So far his performance has been lackluster, as Simmons has only made 7 field goals since Durant went down. Simmons' frustration came to a head when he was assessed to foul late in the game against the Suns. He continued to bicker with the official who made the call and was eventually hit with 2 technicals, which is an automatic ejection. While Simmons' passion for the game is much appreciated, Nets head coach Bklyn says he would rather his star forward focus more on being productive. We need him to be productive, and that is without the fouls. That is helping us rebound the basketball. That is playing with poise and composure. That is pushing the pace for us, Vaughn said after the loss per ESPN. So unfortunately, when you're a really good basketball player your list is long and so are the responsibilities. And hopefully we'll continue to ask of those things and challenge him and challenge this group to be able to answer those long lists. Joe Harris sounds off on near comeback versus Suns. Though the Nets dropped their fourth consecutive game against the Suns, they did not go down easily. After trailing by as many as 24 points, they cut the deficit to just 3 points in the second half before losing. Nets sharpshooter Joe Harris credited the team's comeback effort to them developing his sense of urgency. "I think, just a sense of urgency. We're getting RFX exploitive kick, so we're trying to come back and win the game," Harris said after the loss via Yahoo Sports. "Obviously, we changed some things up. We started playing zone, which we had never done before, but we figured it out on the fly, and were able to rebound fairly well out of the zone. Kind of forced them into taking some more contested mid-range shots to limit some of their outside opportunities. All the stuff that we talked about before the game, we were trying to do, but we weren't able to do it in just our normal man-to-man coverage. So we had to change things up, and we played better when we did, but it's a little too late." With Durant's return looking increasingly distant, the Nets will need to find a way to right the ship without him quickly. So Nets fans, what do you think about that? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Check out this new start declared what he wants in the Bklyn Nets. After several polemics and situations seemingly without favorable solutions, agent of Kyrie Irving reveals contact at the Nets for contract extension. Kyrie Irving's previous contract extension almost led to the star player's departure from the Bklyn Nets last offseason. The situation was circumvented at the time, but in the coming months it will have to be resolved for good. And the playmaker has already made his intentions very clear. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. His stepmother and manager, Chatelia Irving, revealed that her client wants to stay with the franchise for the long term. "I have already contacted the management of the franchise to come to an agreement to start with. But so far we haven't had any meaningful conversations about it. Kyrie's desire is for Brooklyn to be his new home, and we have expressed that desire. So, the ball is in the other side of the court. It's time for them to communicate if they want that too," said the agent in an interview with Bleacher Report. This discussion comes as a surprise, first of all, if you think back to the beginning of the season. Irving was suspended by the team because of his comments. It was debated at the time whether the star player should be traded or even dismissed. Since his reinstatement, however, he has once again become a key player for the Nets. The current moment, on the other hand, is quite opportune for the star to start speculating about the new bond. He is, after all, living his best phase of the season. He has averages of 31.4 points, 6.4 rebounds and 7.6 assists in the last 5 games for the New York Islanders. He has also hit almost 54% of his shots and 49 of his attempts from long distance. So Nets fans, do you think that Kyrie Irving should continue in the Nets and who should be traded? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Bklyn Nets take advantage of gap in New York. The Bklyn Nets started the game better, dominating the action and opening a good advantage on the scoreboard. On the other side, the Lakers found it difficult to hit their shots, only 27 shooting, and did not fit the defense well, which gave up many points to the Nets. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. The first quarter was 29-16 for the Nets. In the second quarter, the Los Angeles offense, even without LeBron James and Anthony Davis, woke up and started competing against Brooklyn. Even with the game becoming more balanced, the Nets' lead was maintained after halftime at 58-46. The Los Angeles Lakers came back very different in the second half, with more dynamic plays offensively. The team not only managed to turn the game around, but imposed its largest lead of the game, 7 points. The Nets woke up at the end of the fourth, got a good sequence and reached the final 12 minutes with a slight advantage of 87-84. Even after sketching a reaction, the Lakers couldn't compete in the final minutes without their stars. Brooklyn managed to impose itself, reopened the advantage on the scoreboard and made impossible any opportunity for Los Angeles to try to leave with the victory. Taking advantage of the opponent's absence, the Nets won, with another good performance by Kyrie Irving, who finished the game as the star of the game with 26 points. Patty Mills and Cam Thomas came off the bench to score 21 points each. For the Lakers, the best scorer was Thomas Bryant, who scored 18 points and grabbed 9 rebounds. Russell Westbrook scored 17 points, grabbed 8 rebounds and distributed 11 assists. The Brooklyn Nets scored 121 points and the Lakers 104. So Nets fans, what did you think about the Brooklyn Nets and Lakers game? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Damian Lillard of the Nets land Blazers in a bold commercial setting. There are some NBA teams that seem to get all the attention. There are times when it's for the better. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. Whatever the case, there are certain teams in the league that we just can't stop talking about, one way or another. Let's take a look at the Brooklyn Nets as an example. In recent years, this team has been in the spotlight for a variety of reasons. As far as the staff is concerned, this has not always been a benefit either. There have been some fireworks thrown by the Nets on this year's trade deadline. They traded Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Straight resulted in the Nets receiving a variety of strong defensive players, along with a large amount of first-round draft picks. In the coming months, the entire NBA world will be eagerly awaiting the announcement of whether they will be buyers or sellers. In case they choose the former, here's a deal that could see them signing Damian Lillard from the Portland Trail Blazers. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. In fact, there are several reasons why one team might get more attention than the others. It is obvious that the size of the team's biggest stars has a lot to do with the team's success. It's still important to consider the size of the market as well. Is it possible that the Brooklyn Nets spend so much time under the radar? The team plays in New York City. In terms of size, this is the largest city in North America. There will be a lot of talk about the professional sports teams that play in this city. In contrast, Blazers tend to go unnoticed most of the time. Portland is not exactly a metropolis of the same magnitude as New York. It's also worth noting that other than Lillard, they haven't been able to feature many big names over the years. Are they willing to trade the only superstar they've known in this period for a younger player? Why the Portland Trail Blazers do the business. Another reason the Blazers went under the radar is that they've always been mediocre as a team. There is no exception to this rule this season. The Blazers on the other hand have trended downwards in recent years. During that time they went from being gritty and competitive to struggling to stay out of the bottom of the league standings. It's time to dive in. A rebuilding process is long overdue for the Blazers. All in all, trading Lillard for Thomas and 4 first-round picks is a good way for them to start off on the right foot. At the same time, the Simmons acquisition is interesting here. As a result, some will see him as a negative asset. He's just here to make money work in their eyes. At the same time, a rebuilding team will be able to resurrect the former Defensive Player of the Year and All-Star contender for an intriguing recovery project. Is it fair that the Nets let the Blazers try to get him back? There is no doubt that the Nets could have all the capital in the world at their disposal. It will be difficult to justify a rebuild until they have one of their own. The Houston Rockets currently have control of the draft through the year 2027. In the absence of dealing directly with the Rockets, any decision the Nets make will likely be driven by a win-now attitude. There is no doubt that this deal does just that. From afar it looks like they're going to get the best player in this trade. In fact, there is a possibility that the Nets could be a contender next season if they acquire Lillard. After all, the team has one of the best defensive rosters in the entire league. It's also starting to look like Mikal Bridges might be one of the viable second options as well. If the Nets believe they are one step away from running, Lillard could be the missing piece. They will be able to get the whole NBA talking again if they can get him. So Nets fans, what did you think? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Unbelievable Bklyn Nets faces in passes. On Friday, point guard Kyrie Irving is to be traded from the Bklyn Nets according to reporter Shams Charania. Irving has informed the Nets that he would rather be traded before the trade window closes on February 8 or he will leave the team in free agency in July. TNT and Bleacher Report reporter Chris Haynes said that Irving asked to leave the team because the sides could not agree on a contract extension. According to ESPN USA reporter Adrian Wojnarowski, Irving has not asked to be sent to any specific team. The 30-year-old star's request, according to Bleacher Report, appears to be an indication that the playmaker in the organization are not discussing a long-term contract extension. On Kyrie staying with the Nets. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. I've been in contact with the Nets about that. Irving's agent, Chadelia Irving, told Haynes, on January 25, "We have not had any significant conversations at this point. The desire is for Bklyn to become a home, with the right kind of extension, which means the ball is in the Nets' court to communicate now if their desire is the same." During his time with the Bklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving has been involved in some situations that are considered controversial. He has already gone on hiatus for an extended time for no clear reason, did not play in Nets home games for 5 months during the 2021-22 season, suspended by the team after posting an anti-Semitic film on his social media, and was subsequently reluctant to apologize for his actions. A possible split between Irving and the Nets appears to be imminent, because of unresolved contractual issues during the last offseason. Just to illustrate, shortly after the two parties failed to reach a deal for a longer period of time, the organization granted permission for him to go after a sign-and-trade. However, he decided to exercise his player option for the 2022-23 season, after a trade failed to materialize. In the meantime, Kevin Durant had made a trade request, though he went back and withdrew the request, remaining with the team. So Nets fans, what did you think? Kyrie Irving should continue or need a new team? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. Check out what says NBA Insider commented about Bklyn Nets player. Trading Ben Simmons will not be an easy job for the Bklyn Nets. For a few weeks, the Bklyn Nets were the team to beat in the NBA. But things have changed since Kevin Durant's injury, which ruled him out for several weeks. During KD's absence, the duo of Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons was expected to do the job for the team. While Kyrie did a great job filling in the gaps left by Durant, the same cannot be said for Ben Simmons. Simmons has continued to struggle this season, and as a result many have even called for the Nets to trade Simmons before the NBA deadline. Hello Nets fans. Take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video. But is it really possible for the Bklyn Nets to get a fair deal for Ben Simmons after what they gave up for him in the trade last season? Ben Simmons has underwhelming averages of 7.4 ppg, 6.5 rpg and 6.4 apg so far this season. As a result, his trade value has taken a huge hit. So while there have been many proposed trades surrounding Simmons, making an actual deal will certainly be a Herculean job for the Nets. John Hollinger of The Athletic interestingly wrote that the Nets will need to attach draft picks for Simmons, rather than receive them. With that in mind, the only fair deal he could get was with the Dallas Mavericks. But considering what the Nets gave up for him, the organization expects Simmons to return to form, and trading him would be the last resort for them. So Nets fans, do you think Ben Simmons should be traded, or is this just a tough time for the Bklyn Nets? Leave your comment on the video, take the opportunity to leave that like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be notified whenever there is a new video.